You're about to discover the secret to learning a language in 10 days. And what's amazing is that it only takes 30 minutes a day. Now, just to be clear, by 30 minutes, I don't mean 30 minutes of torture where you're trying to cram in grammar rules and spending endless time with flashcards or using any of the traditional ways of learning a foreign language taught in schools, universities, or by a private language tutor whom you might hire. And on top of that, I'm also going to explain to you why many people fail to learn a language from software-based tools like Rosetta Stone. Now, this accelerated learning methodology is so easy that you can start speaking immediately. Did you ever study a second language in high school or college? And you practiced grammar drills and studied sentence syntax. You memorized conjugations for endless lists of verbs. I talk, you talk, she talks, we talk. How fun was that? After all that effort, most students still struggle to speak comfortably with natives and don't have perfect pronunciation. I'm going to share with you the biggest insight into language learning that was discovered almost 50 years ago by Dr. Paul Pimsleur, someone you could call the Einstein of learning language. Before written history, we had an oral history. Most people, even kings and queens, couldn't write or read in ancient times. Even today, still 25% of the world's population of 7 billion can't read, which is about 2 billion people. And these adults can function and interact normally with each other. But when you look at the industrialized nations, which have a 97% literacy rate, one of the biggest challenges to learning another language is the fact that adults are able to read and write, at least initially. Let me explain what I mean. Before we learned to read and write, we learned to speak. And Dr. Pimsleur discovered how adults can learn a language dramatically faster than children through a unique audio method that literally fools your brain into learning. His whole approach to language learning can be summed up by the statement, when you know what sounds right, everything else is easy. You first learn to speak by interacting with your parents. And your brain is designed to learn a language through conversation. Here's proof. If I tell you, I bread needs, you instantly know that my grammar is off and I should be saying, I need bread. You don't need to think analytically about verb conjugation, sentence syntax, and so forth. That's all boring and unnecessary stuff. To put it another way, if you can't speak another language and you've tried to learn before, you're probably doing something wrong. It's why you're nervous speaking with others. You have difficulty remembering vocabulary. You have a thick accent, perhaps. You spent hours on end trying to memorize flashcards, and when you ask a native a question, you can't understand anything that's being said back to you. That's no way to learn. So, how do you start speaking another language in 10 days? Introducing the quick and simple course. The secret is in the audio. These 4 CDs contain 8 fluency-oriented lessons. Just sit back and let the audio do the work for you. It is really that effortless. There are many reasons why you need to use the Pimsleur approach. Reason number 1, 100% audio based. All you have to do is push play and listen. After finishing these lessons, you're going to naturally grasp and speak the language using practical words and phrases. You'll learn like a child does by mastering speaking before reading or writing. Keep in mind, we don't focus on reading or writing because it distracts you from intuitively learning a language by ear. Reason number 2, short and manageable lessons. Each lesson is 30 minutes long, and you only need to listen to 1 lesson per day. Let's be practical. If you're like most of our customers, that's more than enough for your average day. Reason number 3, learn anytime, anywhere, even while doing other activities. You probably have multiple obligations in your life between work, family, and play, right? Well, having a program that you can take anywhere allows you to fit learning into your schedule without changing your daily habits. You can listen on your iPod or MP3 player, which means you can learn anywhere. On your lunch break, during your drive or walk to work, while getting dressed in the morning, while shaving, while you're working out, while cooking, while washing the dishes. Reason number 4, it's fun. You're going to be learning a valuable skill, and you're going to be having fun doing it. And you're going to remember what you learn without trying or studying. Reason number 5, learn the most common words and phrases. Can you believe the English language has over 1 million words and phrases? In English and in most languages, We only use about 2,500 words and phrases, what we call building blocks, in everyday conversation. If you only focused on even a subset of these building blocks, you'd feel proficient and confident speaking a language. That's exactly what the Pimsleur approach does. Reason number 6, no rote memorization. It's not intimidating. In the past, you may have had to memorize lots of words, but with this program, you're going to remember without trying. And I promise, nothing repeats over and over and over. Reason number 7, you'll sound like you were born there. This program teaches you to speak with ease, and you're going to speak without an accent, if you can believe that or not. So you will actually sound like a native. You want people to think you're a local. That's what really makes you feel like an insider. Reason number 8, based on 50 years of scientific research. It's been used and tested on millions of people, and it's literally been scientifically sequenced to lock language into your brain. Reason number 9, learn quickly and intuitively. This course immediately immerses you into a foreign conversation to help you grasp the structure of the language. You're going to recognize what you hear, and you'll know what sounds right. So you won't need to study grammar. You're doing what's already natural to you in English. Amazingly, once you understand the syntax, that chaotic foreign sound so common to language learning disappears instantly. You'll start to recognize words and phrases, and you can reuse what you know to talk about new topics. Reason number 10, design with adults in mind. There is a myth that only children can learn a language quickly, and that is not true. And what's remarkable is that you'll learn much faster than a child does because of the accelerated learning principles Dr. Pimsleur incorporated into his program. Now, the most important reason you should buy this course today is that it's on sale. We're celebrating Pimsleur's 30-year anniversary. Normally, the quick and simple course is $20. However, today, while supplies last, we're offering it to you for 50% off. It's only $10, and we're including free shipping.
Open up a new browser, go to this website right now. We have over 16 languages available.
It's guaranteed, and you have 30 days to try it risk-free. Pimsleur is a best-selling and world-famous language method that's been relied on by more than 25 million people over the past 30 years, and it has an impressive track record. The Pimsleur approach receives positive press coverage from many prominent news organizations. New York Times, the Daily News, Forbes, PBS, the Washington Post, the Los Angeles Times, the Boston Herald, the list goes on. Dr. Pimsleur was a linguist, a professor, and researcher. What really fascinated Dr. Pimsleur was how quickly many children were able to pick up a second language. He just couldn't understand why students were forced to memorize grammar rules, useless phrases, and endless lists of verbs. He defined 4 revolutionary principles that form the backbone of his unique methodology. Principle number 1, graduated interval recall. Dr. Pimsleur timed how long students remember new information and at what intervals they need to be reminded of it. If reminded too soon or too late, students fail to retain the information. Principle number 2 is anticipation. Dr. Pimsleur discovered that repetition alone is not enough. You're required to anticipate answers to questions, which forces you to actively think about words you've previously spoken without having the chance to stop and think. Principle number 3 is organic learning. Organic learning means natural learning. As kids, we learn to speak before we learn to write. Dr. Pimsleur's research proves that we naturally assimilate language through hearing. This should be the foundational step in learning a language. Traditional schooling does the exact opposite. Principle number 4 is core vocabulary. We only need a limited number of words to effectively communicate in any language. The real trick is not how many words you know, but rather how well you use the words you do know. By only focusing on the core essentials, you can dramatically decrease the time it will take to learn your second language. Our proficiency guarantee. You're absolutely guaranteed to learn the Pimsleur way or you don't pay. No questions asked. You can return it within 30 days and pay absolutely nothing. I'm sure you've heard of Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is a software that requires a computer, and if you've asked anyone who's tried it, it's totally impractical to use. Most people that buy language courses are over 30 years old, educated, and work hard. They sit behind a computer all day at work. And the last thing you want to do is to come home and sit behind a computer again. There's no way you'll stick to a language program that's not convenient. The Pimsleur approach is totally different. It was designed to be portable and fun to use. It's so easy to get overwhelmed, but in just 30 minutes a day, in the car or while you're walking to work, you can learn a language. Because you can use it anywhere, you'll actually stick with it no matter what comes up. This course is perfect for you unless you want to go abroad and live there for an entire year. And living abroad for an entire year costs between $25,000 and $100,000. University language classes can cost between $4,000 and $10,000, and that's before you move past the textbook and learn to speak. A private tutor charges up to $50 every 30 minutes and won't have a proven lesson plan that's worked for millions of people. Any of these options take years and don't guarantee your success. But for just $10, including free shipping, you have the chance to learn a language.
Why not order right now? Here. It's all just one click of a mouse away.
There are so many more reasons why you should buy this program right now. Speaking confidently in everyday conversations, you'll learn real and useful things from the very first lesson. For instance, how to connect with others and spark conversations as you meet and greet them, how to build rapport, how to ask questions and how to give and receive directions, how to talk about yourself, how to carry out minor business transactions, how to make social plans, how to speak about your family, and so much more. You'll feel confident enough to rent a car or travel without a guide or tour bus. Perhaps even be more adventurous and explore the countryside off the beaten path so you can really feel like a local. But most importantly, you'll build connections with other people and even laugh when you overhear something silly and understand it. Look, if you can't speak another language, stop fooling yourself. You're doing something wrong. Either you haven't decided to take action on your goal or you're using the wrong method. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. In this case, it's not using the best possible tool to get the job done quickly. For every minute you invest in work during play or in your relationships, you always need to think about, what is my return on life? What is your return on life for completing this program? You don't want to miss out on this opportunity. If there's a competing course you're thinking about buying, hey, that's okay. Just make sure you keep in mind everything you've learned today. Don't invest time in any language course unless you're being taught by ear. I admit I'm biased because Pimsleur is the leader in audio-based learning, and I don't want you pausing, stuttering, having difficulties. If you think about the fillers we use in everyday English, those kind of words. Can you imagine how you'll sound if you're stuck thinking about grammar rules while trying to keep up with the conversation? So for $10, including free shipping, you're making an investment in yourself. And if you're not willing to spend that little on improving yourself, then you really should rethink your priorities. Now is your time to take action. Where do you want to travel? If you only speak English, then you're not living life to the fullest. You don't want to look back in 20 years and feel some frustration and regret because you never followed your dreams. Even if you travel abroad, when you don't know the language, you're at the mercy of those who may or may not speak English. And you'll never know if they're taking advantage of you or trying to rip you off. There's a better way. People's opinion of you will change instantly when they find out you know another language. When you speak the language, you'll develop a new level of rapport and win over natives in no time. You're one small step away from getting closer to the life you want to live.
Open up a new browser, go to this website right now. We have over 16 languages available.
Go ahead and take advantage of our 30th year anniversary offer while supplies last. I hope you learned a lot from this presentation and were both inspired and encouraged to learn a new language. Thanks for your time today. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. Please email us or call. You'd be pleased to know that we love our customers and answer calls in 30 seconds or less.